Welcome back to VALORANT Champions. There's just one spot left in the top 4, and it'll come down to DRX and FNATIC. I'm your host, Sue. I've got Mimi and Bren back with me. Yes, just one spot left. There's not, I feel like all of the teams left could, like you guys said, take a trophy. But between FNATIC and DRX, I feel like the narrative, Bren, it's all there, isn't it? Oh,
it is. I mean, it's set up, isn't it? I mean, you've got the rematch potential from when we saw FNATIC going down and, you know, having that rebuild process. It was DRX with a team that actually took them down as well. But I am looking so forward to the series overall as well. I just want to see if DRX have corrected some of the common mistakes actually as well to stand a chance, because, I mean, ever since FNATIC has got down to the lower, it just feels like, again, a demon has been unleashed in the lower bracket and no one really stands a chance. That's what it's felt like to me, because FNATIC are that team that you just think and expect them still to be making a good run for the grand finals.
And we've heard from the players on FNATIC, they're saying that it doesn't matter to us that we're in the lower bracket. We're glad we lost. We learned from that experience and are taking that to go and try and win this 3rd trophy. So it's a really brutal matchup here for DRX, but they have beaten FNATIC in the past.
Yeah, and speaking of that lower bracket, this is exactly what happened at Champions 2022. FNATIC, they lose against EXA, they drop to the lowest. DRX, they drop a little bit later, and they actually, Mimi, send FNATIC home, and this was the end of the old FNATIC. They ended their roster, essentially.
I feel like this is where two paths diverged. It was DRX finally breaking the 5th-6th curse, making it into a top 4, eventually ending top 3 at that tournament. And it was FNATIC being the team who was always looking for that first trophy, failing at it again towards the final yard. It was the closest that they got in 2022, but they took this loss and they became the super team we know today because of it. They gutted their roster, they picked up probably the 2 best supportive players you possibly could in Chronicle and Leo, and the rest is history. They win 2 trophies.
The piece that we saw earlier today as well, just to build on that, of Chronicle saying, I watched FNATIC lose last time to DRX. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And like, that is just the most ice-cold thing to possibly say heading into this. But yeah, DRX also, you know, no strangers essentially to go on these lower bracket runs, but it's always ended in a bit of, you know, tragedy for this team, I would say. They've broken past their own, you know, the glass ceiling, which is trying to make that top 4 spot. Typically, it was 5 to 6, but since then, they haven't really been able to aim for a top title spot and being a contender, you know, for a grand finals run, for example.
Yeah, they haven't indeed. But maybe history could repeat itself today. Let's send it down to Paperthin for a quick word with FNATIC's IGL Boaster.
All right, let's see if we can grab Boaster here for a quick interview. My man, what's up? How you doing today? First of all, DRX is the team that eliminated you from Champions in 2022. You've got a rematch coming up here again today. What's the mentality and approach to make sure that that doesn't happen again?
We're not going to underestimate them, obviously. They've beaten us in the past, but we're FNATIC and we're here to win this whole event. And if it's a lower bracket grind, it's a lower bracket grind. Everyone's going to be scared of us, hopefully, so we'll see. We're coming.
All right, good luck today. And that is FNATIC's Boaster. Sending it back to you.
Thank you very much. I think he's hit the nail on the head there. Even when they dropped to the lowers, you heard players like Boostio and a few others still giving them a lot of kudos, Mimi. A lot of other players, they still feel like FNATIC could make a run, even though they didn't look very good against Loud.
I don't think it's just that people feel like they could. I think it's a lot of people still expect them to win this tournament, to still go on a run. After all, at the end of the day, they are FNATIC, but they have shown weakness this tournament. They looked shaky in a few maps. In particular, I think this Ascent versus Loud, their attacking side, a lot of times not clearing angles when they're going for these market splits, making little mistakes in their coordination that is so unusual for this team.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that, you know, FNATIC have shown signs that they can bleed, you can kill them, you can, you know, bring down this juggernaut team, and it comes down to those maps, which is Ascent and Haven as 2 examples. Now, don't get me wrong, a shaky map pool for FNATIC is still a very good one when you look at other teams, right? Because they're still more than serviceable, they can still pack a punch, but it's not a dominant map. They can lose on them, and what I want to see today from DRX is no more trolling, Termy. I don't know if you're listening, but man, we're going to be locking you up unless you target these bans, because DRX did not do that against EG. They let Fracture completely open. It's the best map for EG. Ended up losing on it in a close fashion, and then it was just curtains from that point on in the entire series. I need to see DRX using this map pool advantage this time around. I need to see evidence that they've done their homework and they know exactly which direction to shove this map pool into.
I'm all for dooming on Termy and some of the map choices that DRX have made, because I think they have been pretty troll, especially that EG series. But I also think that those are weaker spots for FNATIC, but it's in no way going to be an easy map or a gimme at all. Because FNATIC, if there's one thing we know about them, it's learning from these losses. It's improving those maps where they've shown weakness, and we've seen them be so strong on Haven, on Ascent in the past, that I actually have a lot of faith that this is the team that is going to actually fixate on those maps and have much stronger solutions into the matchup today, which even though those gaps can be seen, it's a question of can you exploit them or has FNATIC fixed them?
Yeah, as you guys were alluding to it, against EG, DRX left Fracture open. EG, of course, hopped on it straight away, and it ended up being a little bit catastrophic for them. But the question is today, I know you want Termi to kind of tidy up the choices, but what should he be taken away from FNATIC?
I think FNATIC still have some very, very good maps across the board, but Lotus, I think, was a bit of a fluke in terms of them losing it to Loud. And given how poorly DRX played on it, you can see in their matchup against EG, just from that graphic alone, I mean, they got dominated on Lotus the other day. I would like to see them remove Lotus. I think that's a good option for them. There are plenty of other choices. I just want to see them funnel it in a direction that forces FNATIC to play on either, Bind is one that, we haven't really seen too much playtime for FNATIC. I think Bind could be a good option. I think Haven and Ascent could also be good options. I want to see it go into that direction for them to actually have a solid chance here today, because outside of that, it is still FNATIC being the favorites, I would say, in this matchup against DRX.
In particular, I think Ascent would be a great target for DRX in this veto. It's always been one of their best maps where their coordination is on point, and for FNATIC, it's one that even when they've been at their best, they haven't had to play it a ton, and well, they're of course good at it. They're the best team in the world. They still, I think, have some weaknesses that it's very possible for DRX to exploit.
Yeah, DRX did that back last year, 2022. They beat FNATIC on Ascent, and the rest was history. But we do have a little bit of an update because Mako is back on stage today. He is here. Although I felt like the last game we saw him, he was a little bit tilted and getting quite emotional there.
Yeah, we were seeing the passion brought out, I think, I think it was Seth who said, the gentle giant getting a bit angry during his cast, because normally I feel like Mako, he's such a consistent rock for this team in terms of his own individual performances. You're always going to get good showcases out of him, but it wasn't there in the series the other day. But now he's out of isolation. Hopefully that eases a bit of the frustration, I think, as well. You can actually get a bit of that sense of team camaraderie when you're up on the stage and you can stare at each other. Yes, we don't have a crowd because of biblical weather conditions that are occurring in LA, but I think it will make a big difference for Mako. I think as well, just him being there with the rest of his team, and hopefully that uptick in his own personal performance, because you're going to need it when you're playing against a team like FNATIC.
Yeah, remember how long this DRX roster has been together. They fought through that 5th, 6th curse. They made their way past it at Champions. If they could do that again here, I think having everyone in person, having the team synergy, remembering that you've made that achievement before, and just being in a good mental position, not getting overly focused on the fact that FNATIC has won 2 trophies, that they're the best team in the world. You have to think back that you've done it before, that this is possible for DRX.
Yeah, and that starts from the map. Vetoes, you guys mentioned it. Termi needs to get a win here right out the bat. In fact, he's ready right now with Coach Mini, so let's see where we're going to be heading.
All right, DRX will be higher seed for this match since they came from the upper bracket. So Team A or Team B?
Team B.
Team B. So FNATIC, you will be Team A. And we will start with your first ban.
Pearl.
Pearl, your first ban.
Ben Lotus.
Lotus. And map number 1 from FNATIC.
Bind.
Bind. Side on Bind.
Defense.
Defense. And map number 2?
Pick Haven.
Haven. And side on Haven.
Are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think.
Attack. Okay, and next set of bans, starting with FNATIC, you have Ascent, Fracture, and Split.
Ban the bottom one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ban Ascent.
They ban Ascent. So your ban, you have Fracture and Split.
Ben Fracture.
Ban Fracture. So map number 3 will be Split. FNATIC side on Split. Attack. Okay, let's run back through this. First set of bans, we have FNATIC with Pearl, DRX with Lotus. Map number 1 is Bind with DRX on defense. Map number 2 is Haven with FNATIC on attack. Next set of bans were Ascent and Fracture. Map number 3, Decider, is Split with FNATIC on attack. Good. All right, good luck to you both.
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
FNATIC. DRX.
DRX, they were the ones to send FNATIC home back at Champs 2022, but this is the EMEA Super Team. They built this roster precisely to defy expectations in moments like these.
And the expectation is now greatness. 2 trophies already lifted this year. Everyone expects them to win at Champions, but there's only 1 slot remaining at the Shrine. And DRX, they're a team that have defied their barriers before. Last year at Champions, like you're mentioning, they upset FNATIC. They break through. If they could achieve something similar today, they would make history yet again.
Well, the important question is, Brent, how satisfied are you with Termi's choices for today? Do you like the map up?
I'm quite satisfied, I would say. I think, yeah, I mean, they ban out Lotus, which makes a ton of sense to me because I think FNATIC losing it is a bit of a fluke. Loud were magnificent on that map. I think that they came into it with tons of good ideas, and honestly, it was a bit of an off day for FNATIC. Removing that makes a lot of sense to me, especially given how poor it was for DRX, and they managed to get Haven in there as well. I think Haven is going to be a massive, massive point of contention as a map when we get to that second point as well, just to see if DRX can take it, because that is really where it's going to be the bread and butter of the series, if they can go the distance.
For me, questions are still flying around this first map of Bind. FNATIC have not had to play this in a long time. Didn't lock it in once at Tokyo, haven't played it thus far at Champions. It was all the way back in EMEA the last time we saw them on this map. Back then, they were running a Raze, Sky, Cypher, Viper, Brim composition, which a lot of teams have stuck with as being fairly meta. But as we've already seen today, there's a lot of innovation around Bind. I think it's the map with the most variety in compositions. So there's a chance here for FNATIC to make a change and surprise DRX.
Well, let's take a look and see if they do, because we are heading into the Prime Gaming Agent Select. FNATIC always been strong on this map, and they make a change with Alpha moving from Cypher to Chamber. And of course, Durka was the one that played the majority of Chamber on this map for them.
I am loving this. With the form that Alpha has been in, it is red hot. He's making me look like a fool every time they play, and I do not care, because listen, I'll eat my words every day of the week. When Alpha is putting up numbers like he is, put him on a roll like Chamber, where he's going to be able to absolutely take these fights. And DRX, they've gone for the Eurocomp again. I think this didn't show as much thought as well, as many reps when I saw them pull this out initially at this tournament, but maybe they have added on to what we've already seen existingly.
If he can keep his form and FNATIC goes on to make a deep run to win this tournament, I think there's a very real discussion around Alpha being the best player in the world. His performance has just been absurd at the tournament thus far. For DRX though, the questions are, how are you going to shut down that Chamber? I think that more revolves around the defensive half, but on attack too, there's a lot you can do with this agent. Holding down extremities, playing 4-1s where the Chamber is solo set up towards B. DRX, this is the moment where they're going to have to adapt, dig deep against the best team in the world if they want to stay in Champions.
Yeah, as we remember from before, when Durka played this map, he used to call on the defense. They gave him the responsibility on the Chamber to dictate how they play. I wonder if they're going to do the same thing with Alpha here, and how it's going to work out. Our teams are ready, and it's time to kick off our final match at the Shrine. Here to cast this one is Pansy and Hypoc.
Thank you, Analyst Desk. And yes, the atmosphere in here is indeed electric. Mike's turned up in FNATIC colors. It's all gone off script.
Reddit's kicking off today. Big time.
Reddit's having a field day. I'm meant to be the biased one, not him. However, we do actually have a cracking matchup in front of us, don't we?
And seeing Alpha come out on the Chamber is such an exciting prospect to get our teeth into Bind here. Somebody who's... You put it the same way as when you see Demon 1 go onto the Astor, to the Brimstone. It's like, what would this guy look like if you unleash him? Because Cypher was kind of the cornerstone of what FNATIC have achieved the last few months on Bind here to counter, you know, slow plays around Vipers and whatnot. So this is definitely what I've got my eyes on. That's not even to mention the Yoru on the other side.
Yeah, the Yoru's there,
Less of a surprise,
by the way. But hey, it's still there, and it's definitely caught our eyes. But as we go forward, maybe we start seeing that depth of what FNATIC may have. Obviously, we've seen them throughout this tournament being tested more than maybe some expected. And DRX, yes, we know the curse of them hitting that marker in these tournaments and always just faltering. But maybe this time it's different.
Looks like this is the score that's destined to be settled at Champs as well. So the last two head-to-head sets. Zest actually does open up onto Durka here. Able to slip away. I'll be cautious towards long. We'll probably hear the orb being retrieved here. Boaster.
Oh, he's got a chance at that.
No ping on the minimap, so I don't actually believe Marco's...
I don't think you've seen him.
No. Oh. That's a big indicator to find Alpha on the other side. Again, expected position, but both are trying to slip in theirs caught.
Yeah, so this is now being quite telling. You're seeing a lot of what FNATIC were trying to keep subtle. Leo having a little bit of a look. FNATIC getting a little bit closer. This is going to need someone to deliver them 2, maybe even 3 here. And Marco's position's lovely. And keep in mind, he has support in there too. Buzz actually dedicated towards Shower. So the map quite small for FNATIC. Hard to break back in here. If they can get the plant, they at least get a little bit of comfort.
Ooh, the spam's good.
It's off, it's off,
actually.
it's off. Okay, plant. All right. 3v5 post plant. Chronicle took a fair crack of damage through that though, and a lovely pop flash. He eats a fair bit of himself, but for Chronicle he ate more. So now down to the 2. Fuse started. First connected, but a trade. So it's all on Leo. And he is a marvel, but this is a lot to achieve with 8 bullets left in this and no real need to stop that defuse. DRX, great start. Now, having a chat kind of before this game, Mike, they were kind of discussing the mentality for DRX coming into this, and I had the opportunity to see him walking in as well.
Yeah, this is
no
really
pressure.
interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting to hear that. I mean, it comes straight from Kangyang, right?
Yeah.
There's kind of, we're going to go out, we're going to play fast, we're going to play loose.
Go aggressive.
And try and catch FNATIC off guard, which is an objective. Well, it's an objective in itself, but with being kind of disappointed in DRX the last couple of events.
Yeah.
In terms, I guess, of that historical pedigree.
Of course.
Then I'm actually here to see it. If they do want to switch things up, obviously this composition on Bind in particular, definitely a catalyst to try and achieve that.
And again, I think we've kind of discussed this till, you know, we're sick. It's just, it's like you can't beat FNATIC by playing traditional Valorant, I feel. I don't think there's many teams, if any, who can. You have to play something out of the ordinary. And that's why all of us are very excited with the idea of, like, Paper X facing off against them, someone who's very aggressive. And I don't think it's a bad concept for DRX to toy with. As it stands, though, being quite patient about this.
They get tagged up, though. We'll find Boaster. The paint shell, follow-up headshot, Marco.
Clean.
Closing the door on Shaw, but Leo slipped through the smoke, still finds it.
Okay, that's one. Spike down. Should be able to get that rifle back, and they have found Alpha. Good start for DRX here. Second round, nice and clean. Bulldogs kept in check, so no financial losses. I'll be happy with that one. Now we see the first real challenge after the pistol.
DRX going to be bringing in 4 Bulldogs here. Marco will see where he settles. Pretty well invested nonetheless. 2 away from the orbital strike. It's about the only old progress to write home about. You know, I guess the counterpart for that, 3 off the Seekers. FNATIC gonna maybe slow things down a little bit for their first buy round. Activity here for DRX though. Stack's looking to get very aggressive.
Again, kind of holding true to what we were discussing, that this is something they want to toy with, play with, try and attempt. Dirk is having none of it, though. He's dealt with Stacks very quickly. Didn't quite get the timing to catch the second, but success elsewhere! And Alpha, the Wonder Kid, for a reason, gonna find 2. That's huge value.
Down to 56 HP, though. Probably gonna wait for a regroup here to get healed. It's just Zest and RB. Try and recover something. I mean, at this point, some damage, sure, but it's going to be difficult for either of them to really prevent the plant. Actually, unless RB stays here.
It can be a real nuisance. They've got to be aware of it. Yeah. Doubling down on it, 2. Headshot made, but still falls. Boaster, less than comfortable, but this round is. FNATIC answer back perfectly. A Prime Gaming flawless here in the 3rd. 5 rifles remain, and making, I guess, no real mistakes there.
Stacks is desperate to try and find an opening here.
I like the idea.
It's so crispy. And towards Showers. Marco one away from the orbital strike now. Again, in this round, we're looking at some of the key ultimates, but Alpha doesn't necessarily need the tour de force just yet. So the rifle coming through. 1 away from the Seekers for Leo, though. He'll find himself a kill to kick things off here. DRX starting with 3 man towards B, and it looks like FNATIC might actually step the pace up a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a gear shift. Not completely, but you can see the pressure that Marco's under with this sort of sight hit. Dirk is already above, so looking to maybe isolate Buzz. Oh, the timing. Oh, and he doesn't get punished on it. That's just... seems outrageous that Dirk gets away with that. Caught with the pain shell in hand, but Buzz couldn't do much about it. But there's bodies here. DRX pulling everyone over. 3 now present on the site, and 1 on that long route around the back lines.
Nobody's going to be stuck behind the trap for a little while. They're going to try and TP past it. Should be out of earshot as well, but FNATIC still trying to fight. Yeah, Alpha responds with 2. Zest will find Leo. Comes down to a 2v2 now.
And with that lack of presence coming out from RB, they're questioning the flank, and Alpha rightly has already turned. Yes, Zest is deep on the site, but you can see how safe they're playing. Trying to find that last... Oh, come on, Alpha! Such a nasty player mechanically, seeing that in full force here. Zest now taking space, but flipped sides.
30 seconds
28
left.
seconds. Can he find Boaster? Yes. He's got to know Alpha was somewhat nearby. And he gets him. Fabulous work from Zest. Back in the game.
A 4K and the Red Bull clutch to close things out here as FNATIC. He said Durka able to lead the charge here, unpunished initially. You know, he was spotted and awful timing for the paint shell to come out, but course correction from DRX. Alpha just spots him at the last second. You can hear a little bit of confusion actually as to where Alpha was still residing there. With that HP, very, very audacious for him to be pushing up. Tour de Force online now. Seekers available for FNATIC, and on the other side, Orbital Strike.
Buzz.
And the pits, yeah.
Buzz is holding his breath, trying to just suck it in, just hope he doesn't get spotted. And he doesn't, but it's a similar look, right? We saw this before. But Buzz willing to maybe challenge on the cross of this wall. A little bit of a hop up, but look who's waiting on the other side. So a nice little exchange here. Pop flash through the TP. Buzz does find Alpha, so that's Tour de Force gone. Big pick up from RB. This is beautiful work from DRX. Zero fear, taking all the fights. And yeah, Durka standing tall on his tower, but does Buzz fall for it again? He does! Found for a second time. There's Durka and Chronicle. Both in a similar position here. Hard to clear this back site, but Durka, always clean, but not clean enough now. Down to Chronicle. Tough situation. And yeah, beautiful from Marco. Very, very just dug in positions, kept composed, but I've got to be honest here. DRX are playing very good Valorant.
They are, yeah. And FNATIC are kind of testing the waters here. Wow.
Where's Coach
testing the
Benny?
waters initially towards A, maybe to force an extra player across here, with something in mind towards B side. That's a little awkward to see Alpha tied up in that sort of engagement, especially with the Tour de Force.
And I was going to say, even just in the round before this, you know, Zest having a great start here. I think he was sitting on maybe 7-2 at that point. I don't think he was the one involved in this, but Marco springing up the board, and great to see Marco back out on stage, obviously. Totally different today. Keep in mind, the
out of the echo chamber.
Yeah, yes. And into another somewhat isolated arena.
Yes.
But, you know, the 7 fans are here. They're mostly crew. But still, at this point, I'm looking at kind of the fact that we're seeing Marco looking happy, confident, because keep in mind, he was the one who was slamming the desk.
Happy.
He was he was furious, and you don't see that from Marco.
And it's tough to be the one kind of, I guess, outside of this environment, away from the atmosphere of the team as well. And obviously, I mean, there were other issues in that series.
Yes,
which
yes.
we won't go into now, but
no.
Definitely probably feeling rejuvenated internally for DRX today. And absolutely necessary versus an opponent like FNATIC.
Oh, yeah.
But already off to a flying start in my eyes, Lauren.
Couldn't
4-1.
For a better beginning. This is dreamy stuff. You've kept Durka relatively calm. You've got Alpha under the thumb. You're not having Boaster clutching up. A couple of those key things that had been working really nicely for FNATIC. Not quite kicking in yet, but it's still FNATIC. They get wiggle room. We give them a bit of time. They have depth. They've had a mini timeout. Let's see the value in this as DRX instantly back to the aggression.
I love this on the back of the timeout.
So disruptive, but Chronicle's so aware, and he follows up as well, finding RB, putting up a massive man advantage here for FNATIC.
I do love being proactive, but a little lazy on approach.
Toxins going up.
FNATIC don't make moves on the back of it, still awaiting further aggression. Marco to hold down the fort here. Does have his ultimate, but a 3v5, they're going to need some sort of damage or a kill to make that feasible. The pings on the minimap here. Leo obviously pinging out that he's going to be dogging up towards Hookah. Spike not committed just yet. 55 seconds left on the clock. FNATIC still looking to plant seeds.
Marco's position is making me wildly anxious, but maybe to try and deal with this sort of play. We've seen FNATIC trying to creep off this. Oh my God,
further.
Marco, that's mental. He's sitting on the other side of this. He's the only one here. The other two are on the flank. And how long does he wait? How patient is it's connected. He knows the flash connected, but he's done everything! Everything you could ask for! And Stacks in the back gonna get Alpha down. It's all on Chronicle. He's got his ult though, and that should keep him safe for the plant. What can Stacks do? He's got the dog, he's got 2 flashes, and he's quick to this. He wants to find out where Chronicle is. Can't quite connect on the dog, and the slow gets invested. He's gonna try and buy as much time. And Chronicle be such a king in these moments.
Does he wrap all the way back into the backside of this ultimate?
Oh, he doesn't catch it.
Yeah, it's dropped.
So that's quite telling. Stacks is just a couple of steps behind though, and that flash shows where he is, but he still thinks he might be in towards... Wait, he's still paranoid about it. He hasn't even thought about it. Chronicle hasn't stopped walking. Patient the whole time. Through, turn, fight! He gets the tag, down at 20, and Stacks needs to close this gap. He's got to get to him, and he does! DRX! And I've got to say, Marco being masterful, but the time...
Yeah, he's just
got it.
Yeah.
He's...
Oh. Wow.
He's got it.
What a round from Stacks. What a round from Marco before that as well.
Shifting up to that smoke, just sitting on the other side, and the flash catching doesn't give it away. You could see Leo thinking something's weird, that what's gone on to be able to connect that flash. But he still did so well.
Absolute heroics from the 2 power players of DRX. Get themselves a 5-1 lead here on Bind.
This is...
And just to come back to that same point, you said playing with no pressure and stuff today. It's not often you see Marco in kind of these high-risk, high-reward situations. Usually he's a solid backline player. Yeah, he's the safe pair of hands. So it's key, actually, if it's going to throw off some of the... Oh, Wabi actually trying to get into the TP, but... Yeah, if it throws off some of FNATIC's, I guess, expected protocols, then that could be a concern. I mean, it already is a concern.
At 5-1, it definitely is. And they're trying something out with, obviously, this chamber coming in that they don't have massive amounts of reps on. Maybe not finding as much comfort as they'd like in that, but obviously DRX on a switch up too, but making it look much better for them here. And now we do see Durka with the ult. Gonna have the Guardian out. Chronicle has very little. Coming in, Frenzy for Boaster, Stinger for Leo, and the kind of hero rifle for Alpha. The late flash is revealing that FNATIC's intention is creeping towards B long here. Gorgeous from Buzz. Gives Alpha the haircut and slips away. Pop flash and pop on through. Zest and Stacks. Look at this aggression from DRX. I love it. The re-aggress through the wall, not being afraid to take these challenges. And it's hard to do that against FNATIC. We gave the credit to the likes of Billy for this sort of aggression, to EDG for these sort of aggressive looks that they brought out here. But all of them would have fumbled against FNATIC as Billy did. But be able to do it here for DRX, this is a lovely addition to their playbook.
And it's really well coordinated as well. Wow. They're able to construct some of these pieces on the fly. Chronicle just going to give this up. 10 seconds left, obviously.
Yeah.
No chance of fighting back in here, because look at the left side of the screen. Ultimates are plenty here for DRX. FNATIC obviously coming in with a lesser purchase.
God, this is so impressive. It's just not, I think you rightly highlighted it just a couple of rounds ago, but the traditional protocol list of trying to play DRX doesn't really include this often. You're not keeping that very much at the forefront of your mind. Now, can FNATIC handle it? Absolutely. But it's a different challenge.
Well, also, to take this as an example on Bind, when we did see this composition previously, there wasn't an awful lot of proactivity. It was still very DRX-esque. There was no desperation. There was no kind of pin everything on one opening engagement and hope that we can kind of snowball rounds through that. Well, proactivity is the name of the game. Here, Chronicle, sharp to it. We'll deal with the showstopper. Buzz removed right off the rip.
But he wasn't alone in this. They were creeping up. Now, the map's looking kind of curiously divided, isn't it? Because they've taken over that A space, even though they did lose a player for it, so they can't stick around too long. And you do have Alpha kind of clearing that a little bit deeper, trying to keep a little bit of a track on the back of showers. But FNATIC need to re-clear this now, because aggression comes in and it slows down the clock. You can't play hyper late executes because of this. It will hinder you on time. Now with the re-clear coming out from DRX towards short, they're having a look down towards B. They could catch some godly timing, but look at Leo, waiting and actually receives. So he notes the play, he notes the intention, but does he even estimate there could be 2 players here?
Obviously, reveal the presence here, or not Stacks flashing this.
It is, and he's all alone, but he's still got value. He's just taking a brawl. Marco's still somewhat unchecked on here.
Ultimate though, so if he can stand up to the test of Alpha yet.
It's only a little pocket to play
Yeah.
in.
30 seconds left.
It should be expiring about now as well, so the wall will drop.
Zest is in support. There's the ult. Burst comes in. Site gets taken. Zest still stands. Cross gets watched. Marco gets the punish. And where was Alpha in this? Maybe delayed, maybe late. But it gives Marco a second lease of life. And now to the 3v3. Look at the time. Trying to re-clear this. All that stall. All of this work from DRX has stopped FNATIC in their tracks. Spikes loose on the site. This round is wraps. And DRX are doing everything that they need to against FNATIC.
What a beautiful split with the orbital strike kit. And then the layers as well, the snake bite comes through, the molly's there. There's no chance of anybody swinging on to complement Alpha's position, who, I don't know if he's just very, very paranoid of a hookah stack or something, but there was no pressure onto the backside of Marco. He shoots Durka in the back of the head. And this is on the back of, don't get me wrong, the orbital strike splitting things, but
he's pulling an Aspas.
the timing just...
back.
the timing's just a little bit off there.
Wow. I do want to eventually play the game of guess when FNATIC win or lose a round just off of Mini's reaction. At this point, though, we're going to have the ults being cycled through for DRX. They've noted one. And Alpha's not loving that. He actually bests RB. Oh, but Boss! They're so confident, but they're not fighting alone. This isn't individual challenges. They're being very comprehensive in this.
But the way DRX are playing so far, you take these trades every day of the week. If you're going to approach the defense like this on bind, sure, you're happy with that. Especially to remove a lot of information in terms of Alpha yet, lurking outside showers, controlling both entrances to A's site. It's going to be awkward. I was going to say, if Durka doesn't get spotted by the Trailblazer, but...
Is it enough to pull a rotation over, or are they still happy leaving Marco here? FNATIC haven't fully committed. They're trying to maybe pick up the pace a bit here because they ran out of time basically in that last round. So here you can see them trying to work a little bit earlier towards it. Chronicle could be the challenge for Marco. Now for the last round's impact, he has to be aware of the chance of this. They want to get him gone. And this time they succeed. Chronicle takes him down and isolates one on the site. It's just Stacks. One flash to play with, eats that. He's trying to slip ahead. He's trying to be in an unexpected angle here.
This
cubby.
devastating.
Oh, not again! Stacks! This is madness! Pop flash and he lives! Supports the spike is down as well! Durka and Leo will be furious about this. With 20 seconds, what are they meant to do now? So on the best in the game, known for their roles, but right now, they have recovered the spike. It's the small silver lining. The Zest is closing in. It's not like they have safety here. Leo's going to be just melting away. Durka on the defense. Leo looking vulnerable, but he still stands. Durka defending this with everything he's got. And now Leo on the site, and Stacks has a look. Can he find Leo first? He's looking for him. He's not being given much, but a pixel was all it took.
Plant's not good for Durka.
It's certainly not, and the fake flash gives Stacks the angle. Gets the cross, and now he gets started toying with him. Teasing, and he gets him! Stacks with an audacious, outstanding round. We're seeing that aggression. We're seeing that re-aggress time and time again.
Another position that's just so unorthodox.
He played up to that.
I'll be honest, Marco, the exception to the rule. Stacks, occasionally he'll be in a spot like this, but it's another situation where FNATIC are just completely blindsided by aggression ahead of a site execute.
And this is, I love seeing it though. We saw it on Long not too... We saw it on Long like not too long ago, right? That pop flash through the wall, the re-aggress towards it. FNATIC are facing a team who aren't afraid of them. And we haven't seen that for a minute, and there's reason why, but DRX are giving them no quarter.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
Small adjustments, but you can see the massive value they've garnered here in the first half of Bind. FNATIC's map pick, nonetheless.
God.
And we're looking at an 8-1 scoreline, a second mini timeout in round 10.
You don't see those often.
Nope.
You do not see them often. Wow. This feels a little surreal, if I'm honest. We're sat in an empty venue, near on empty. Audience, you've done very well. Coaches and staff, appreciate you.
There's somebody waving at us in a FNATIC jersey.
There we go. The FNATIC fans are all together. Yeah, well, maybe we'll find him by the bar soon at this point.
That's this side.
Yeah, that side.
Yeah.
That's also lights out. It's very strange in here. I hope we get a little crowd shot at some point. The jib cam operator's there like, Jesus. So come in. But the operator is in hand. But it does feel a little, it feels very surreal to be seeing this scoreline in this environment. It just feels bizarre. But it's so well done.
I mean, the concern is, coming out of that timeout, the response is, hey guys, we need to kind of slow down and control it a little more, because it's been the same default pretty much time and time again.
And look
Maybe
who's in the smoke.
expecting RB here.
Pop flash! Does he go? Second time, he does, and the flash is fantastic, and so's the spray. Zero threat, zero trade, he's out of there.
It's just another situation where it's a solo mission from RB. Leo flashed into another dimension. And it's 2 kills in favor of DRX. And this is a scenario where if they can continue to get aggressive on the extremity, even just isolating one person,
sure.
I'm not saying it should be Alpha. Again, he's stood up to the test a couple of times, been traded out previously by Buzz, sure, but this is another thing where here, ahead of the 60-second mark, Boaster's shaking his head and we're on a save.
I mean, this could we potentially see just Boaster's POV if possible? I'm kind of interested if he's doing not a tactical timeout, as a kind of mid-round timeout. As it stands, just kind of going through it. Hand off the kit. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, absolutely. So
30 seconds
if you're kind of wondering, again, you usually see, especially in other games, you know, the French teams do this. A lot of other teams would do this. You take basically a timeout in a round that's basically cooked, right? They have 3 weapons to come into play with, and they need to kind of further that discussion on that Mini just had, maybe build it through, because once again, they've been put off kilter by a smoke play.
10 seconds left.
You know, very confident space, very high risk, high reward. But
I mean,
I say that it's not even high risk particularly because it's Yoru.
Even when you think back to the kind of the flash and dash that Vision Strikers themselves trademarked, they kind of embraced that themselves. You didn't see plays like this. It wasn't flashing out of smokes. It wasn't.
Nope.
It wasn't that sort of aggression. It was drilled set pieces.
Leo.
Like I said, Leo's spraying towards heaven on split, just somewhere completely different. But yeah, this is a completely different sort of aggression that we're seeing from DRX. It's unorthodox. They're not necessarily a very unorthodox team.
No, they're not.
We always credit the structure and how well coordinated they are on set pieces, and this is what I think's throwing FNATIC aloof.
But I absolutely love the fact of it is still quite well crafted. And now you're going to be wanting to be anti-flash if you're Alpha. I'm slipping away. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, they've done it again! Every time there's a wall of smoke, anything, go anti-flash, please, because DRX are walking through all of this. And now they get to sit back in a 5v4. They've taken away Alpha. Fortunately, at least the operator gets to be kept in hand, but Boaster now has to be the one to try and wield it and slowly take space towards Shower.
But it's so rare that we actually see this. Like,
look at Marco. Oh,
for a moment, I think, the rifle just sticking into the poison orb.
This is better. Chronicle trying to challenge on it, but RB's here. Now the Seeker's going to come down, reveal there's still a lurk in play. We're going to have the ult coming through as well. Buzz going to buy a second. Exactly, they couldn't capitalize on the space they may have just earned. Seeker lazily making its way through, and it's Boaster still looking for an opportunity. Doesn't clear close, and Buzz gets what he wants.
That's the spike. Look at the minimap.
No one can do anything. Dirk has got a sight. Brilliant. He's got to get to the other side of the map with 35 seconds. He can't give too much away. And look at Zest.
30 seconds
with
left.
Alpha down, it unlocked the map, and Leo is surrounded. Can't escape. And this man can make miracles happen, but this round won't be the one.
This is not going to be it, no. And just to come back to a point I was about to make, that it's so rare you actually see FNATIC fail to respond to what's going on across the map time and time again. This default hasn't really stood up to the test of DRX's aggression. All they're doing is they're spinning the wheel, picking an extremity, and fighting for it. Yeah. The only time we've really seen them get shut down was the double swing on short. After the timeout, and Chronicle found 2 headshots, that was it.
Last round.
We haven't seen FNATIC stack up as 2 and actually fight for some space. They've been set up outside it. We haven't actually seen them have the opportunity to engage. And then you see, again, you can't fault Chronicle in this position, but somebody has to make a hero play, which isn't FNATIC's strong point.
No.
That's not what we usually look towards them.
No, we don't go, oh, love that individual aspect of FNATIC is normally that machine, right? It's all of it coming together.
well-oiled machine, yeah.
Absolutely, and this is the first time I'm seeing them challenged in this sort of way, and it's not gonna, again, the flash gives Buzz the angle. Look at this. Counter flash comes in, turns it, can't get back in time. First time they've really got an opening pick here to create a chance. But again, look at the scoreline. At this point, 10-1. You're trying to maybe put together anything you can, but nice upgrade for Durka there. Couple of ults as well to play with.
I mean, you're right. This does just feel like a GG go defense.
Yeah.
And hope for the best, really. FNATIC still don't commit behind that pick. Cautious of any further stack here.
And it's a rare day I'm seeing all these players in these positions. Leo, 3-9, bizarre. It's just so strange, but Marco's immovable. They still don't have any access to the site. The spike's down once again, and they're struggling. Stack's trying to support over towards Shower, and DRX just close in and absolutely decimate FNATIC. Alpha, last one alive, hunted down. DRX with a new lease of life. 11-1 on the half.
Switching sides.
Just caught a little bit of frustration on stage as well. It's actually Durka to be the one trying to calm everybody down here. Keep their heads in the game, but it's a tall order with that scoreline. 11-1. Absolutely unprecedented.
Yeah, this is truly out of realm of like any expectation I had for this. I wanted a close game, a close affair, but this reinvention of DRX has completely derailed FNATIC.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Just ult.
The little mini montage, I'll let him have that. This has been outstanding as a half, something that certainly caught almost all of us off guard. I cannot imagine a single person who expected this.
It doesn't really affect us that we are in lower bracket. It's just like almost the same right now as lock-in. You need to win 5 matches in a row and you will be the winner. We can just do it with the same approach. We just need to go one by one. We will see in the next matches how we will play for the fans. As always, we love you all. Thank you everyone who is supporting us. I mean, it really matters. We love everyone who is supporting us in Champions also. I love you all. See you in the next match.
Still don't know what world we're living in here, Mike, because, as said, I want to give all the credit in the world for DRX reinventing themselves after another... I mean, honestly, let's roll back to the EG game, for example. You know, roll back to where you want to. The pick was awful. The veto was awful.
The veto was borderline hint.
It was a shocker.
Yeah.
It was a shocker. And that loss wasn't a pretty one, if I'm honest. It was not a nice loss. It's not one you come away with going, brilliant, we've learned something. No, it was nasty. And I can't stress enough how much credit I want to give to DRX for reinventing themselves here in this scenario. It feels like, keep in mind, they've often faltered here, right? This has always been that last stop for them. They've never really been able to push
Yeah, they always hit that choke threshold. They basically get to a point where it's like, yeah, we've kind of blown our steam throughout the first stages of a tournament. And how many times are we talking about DRX? This is the event. This is the event where they can carry through the momentum.
This might just be the one. One round for FNATIC.
You come into this cursed lower bracket, and you open up versus FNATIC in an 11-1 scoreline on their map pick. Have I woken up yet today?
It doesn't feel like it.
So we're in a fever dream.
We've had ridiculous weather and then also an earthquake. Maybe something's got a little topsy-turvy here, but it's so good to watch. I think any fans of Valorant will love seeing this because you get to see what you can do when you reinvent a couple of aspects of your team. A couple of different looks here, a little bit of a pace change here and there, a confidence upgrade. We're seeing this kind of freedom to DRX we do not see at this point. Normally that pressure mounts, and to do it against FNATIC, I mean, come on. Now we go back in. Can FNATIC make a game out of this? As always, it starts with one round. We have a 4-1 stack.
There's going to be one member of DRX Zest here to try and create a little bit of pressure. Alpha will be put in a position to feel the heat here. The TP comes through. Zest can get behind it. Chronicle actually catches him. Marco with the response onto Alpha, though. It's a 4v4.
So they're going to have the site, right? So plants in, time's on their side, a little bit of kit left on Marco to reinvest the smoke. Where's he going for? CT, it looks like. And up towards Hookah, that's where the pressure's coming from. It's going to be a late presence from Durka. That could be essential. Look at him as well.
Still got good utility.
Yep.
Durka. Probably in. Yeah, Stax is going to figure it out with the flash.
Big. Timing on that is huge. But they can't overcommit to just dealing with Durka. Everyone else is on the other side of the map here, and it's clean enough for Stax. They can turn their attention elsewhere. Great trade for Marco. Swings out after Leo punishes Buzz. Opens up long, but RB's there. Oh, the catch on this cross. Marco working those trades, working that angle perfectly.
Match point.
And that's map point already in round 14 for DRX. I said another situation where sure you can hope for the best at the side switch, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Obviously, we will see the investment come through from FNATIC here. We'll try and get something done with Stingers, maybe a Spectre here and there. But there's very little to pin your hopes to right now. DRX looking to seal the deal here on map 1.
And Alpha not finding much there. Well, he found a lot, but he didn't find what he wanted, which would have been the kill. The space now being filled already. Look at Buzz. Straight down to business. RB already going to find Durka. It's down to 4. Most is here, yes. Maybe the Molly could dissuade the plant at least by a couple of seconds. They just a jump! And so does Boaster. Big shot towards RB. Bring it back down to a 4v4, but this is not comfortable at all.
Difficult as well in terms of the weaponry here. Boaster only a sheriff in hand. Alpha only got the headhunter.
Smoke's down.
The next point of contact is Stax, pressured a little deeper, but Buzz with the judge causing massive problems right now.
FNATIC need to start kind of building back towards this noted. No one on the defuse, but Boaster doing the heroics if he has to. Takes down Marco and looks for that next player to come through that smoke.
The vulnerable!
The tap, it's huge! Oh, and Stax got Leo! Alpha's there! Boaster's falling, it's all on Alpha! A 1v2, and the time is not on his side! History is being rewritten today with a scoreline like that. 13-1. DRX besting FNATIC on map 1.
I'm at an absolute loss for words. What a performance from DRX to come out swinging like that.